Hey, family, it's your family CPA, Jasmine Young, and you're listening to the Talk Wealthy to Me podcast. Get you a black CPA. We out here. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's your family CPA here with another episode of Talk Wealthy to Me. And listen, we talking blood or crypto today. No pun intended. I am so excited to have with us today Mr. Charles Kelly Jr., also known as CJ the Smart Guy, a fellow CPA here with me. CJ, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Nice. Thanks for having me on. I'm just honored.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Always fun to chop it up with other black CPAs in the industry. You know, we're unicorns. So when you see one, it's like, oh, let's talk to them and see what they got going on. So thank you so much for coming on the show. So before we get into this blood or crypto thing, tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm originally from Southern California. I moved to Houston, Texas, graduated from the Texas Southern University, HBCUs in the house.
HBCUs, okay.
Yeah, got to represent.
Absolutely.
I took a job for the railroad, doing a lot of accounting work, moving millions and millions of dollars. It was Warren Buffett's company, but that money was not going to my account.
Wow.
So I'm stressing out about other people's money, got gray hairs to show it. And I was like, you know what? Time to leave, start your own. So I got my license. And I left my job 2016, started growing my hair. And 2020, I got my license. And I was studying Bitcoin and cryptocurrency the whole time because the banks didn't like me anymore. You don't have a job. They're like, oh,
right.
Let's lower your credit limits. Let's close your accounts. And so I was like, how do I even, keep my value and transact? Right. And so I started using crypto, Bitcoin, and now here we are traveling around the whole country, educating people on cryptocurrency and the evolution of money.
That's dope. Now, crypto is really hot right now, so I'm pretty sure you riding a wave. So let's just get right into it. For those of us, including me, because this is not my area of expertise, what exactly is cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? Like, what's the wave about?
So the internet came out, and the internet is basically the central place for information. Mm-hmm. So you've got, books on there, you've got all this value that people are bringing into the internet, but then there's no monetary currency. There's no currency for the internet. So think about people used to use libraries, they used to use encyclopedias and things of that nature.
Right.
But a lot of that got out, that got taken away to the internet. Internet basically,
right.
We don't really buy encyclopedias anymore.
Yeah, kids these days don't even know what an encyclopedia is.
They don't know. So
right.
Everything is going digital.
Right.
And now paper money is now going digital as well, because a lot of the value that's being brought is through the internet. So now there's a native currency of the internet, and that's essentially Bitcoin. And then the other altcoin meaning any other cryptocurrency outside of Bitcoin, those are basically upgrades to stocks in a sense, where instead of having a physical piece of paper or instead of having a certificate, now you have cryptocurrencies. They haven't figured it all out yet, but at the end of the day, Bitcoin is now becoming the worldwide reserve currency of the entire world. And other cryptocurrencies are figuring out their values in the space of the internet. And that's the basic way to put it. I can get way more in depth, but I think that's the most simplistic way. Cryptocurrency is internet money.
Internet money. Okay, so of course, everybody loves talking about money, and this show is all about building wealth. So for those who are interested in getting some of this, internet money, like how do they get started? Where do they go to get it? Who can they do they have investors that trade this internet money for them? Tell us how we can even get in this internet money situation.
Yeah, so the first piece of this whole thing is do your own research. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of scammers in this place, but there's a lot of scammers in the US dollar space also. It's just that we are familiar with the scammers in the US dollar. When somebody says, hey, I'm gonna give you $1 million if you give me $500,000, I'm gonna send you $1 million back. If you give me $500,000, you ain't gonna get it back. So, but it's the same concept in this crypto space, is that a lot of us aren't used to it. So people fall into small little traps. So the first piece I would say, do your own research. The second place in terms where to go, You've got different apps like Cash App where you can buy Bitcoin. You got the Black Wall Street wallet where you can buy Bitcoin.
Shout out to Hill Harper with the Black Wall Street app.
That's right. Yeah. Hill Harper and Naja Roberts, they co-founded the Black Wall Street wallet. And I was on tour this year with them, 2021, and now I'm going again in 2022 to try to educate our communities. So yeah, Black Wall Street wallet's a great place to buy it. And then what we always recommend is once you buy your Bitcoin, then you send it to your cold wallet, because Bitcoin is all about self-sovereignty, and your cold wallet allows you to essentially be your own bank. You can carry your value, and it looks like a little smaller little USB, but you can take it anywhere around the whole world and transact with people peer to peer. And you don't have to worry about, if you bring a whole bunch of cash into the bank, the bank saying, or into the airport saying you can't take all this cash.
Right.
You ain't got to worry about that. So self-sovereignty is the way to go. If you want to buy altcoins, there's a plethora, there's a whole bunch of exchanges you can use. But remember, if it's not Bitcoin, it's a stock, basically. And so stocks can go up and down. A lot of those companies will fail. And so then you're getting into the wild. But Bitcoin is king. All these other altcoins, you can probably get them on like a Gemini wallet or a KuCoin or a Binance or something like that.
So I want to talk a little bit about that, because not too long ago, there was this Dogecoin wave. And I ain't gonna lie, I jumped on it because people was like, hey, you need to get some. And I did. I went and got some. I got me a Coinbase app, and I went and bought some Dogecoin, and I was calling my cousin like, hey, y'all got some? And then the wave just went away. What happened?
Yeah, so you have to understand what you're really investing into. So like I said, Bitcoin is king. That is the upgrade from gold to the US dollar to now Bitcoin. The world is accepting Bitcoin as the world reserve asset. Okay. All these other coins are just upgrades to stock. So to me, Dogecoin might be an upgrade from Visa or from MasterCard. And so what I do is I look at the total market cap of Visa, since it's a payment system, and I look at the total market cap of Dogecoin, and I say, okay, well, it can hit this market cap. What will that price be? There's a lot of, because of cryptocurrency in nature, that we are able to be the early investors. If you're getting into a stock, there's normally like one round of investors that's friend and family, another one that's like, the big investors, and maybe some small people. And in the public, we get it later. Like we're like the third, fourth, fifth, sixth round of investors. Right. In crypto, we're literally at the very front. So what happens is I can create a cryptocurrency right now, and I can put in $2,000, and that could be the market cap. And I could say, okay, it's worth $1. And then the next day I could put in another $2,000, and now it's worth $2. And so to somebody who's on the outside, it's like, oh man, it just doubled in price. And so what happens is, on a larger scale, you'll see somebody say, okay, well, if I put another $1 million in there, the price is going to go way up. And other people, then everybody starts to buy it because it's like, oh, look at the pricing, it's just going up and up and up.
So it's basically being driven by like people's anticipation of what it's going to do.
Yes, because what is its use case? What is the actual intrinsic value of what you're buying? Is there a max supply? And so that's why I say like 90 to 98% of these altcoins are going to fail, because most of them weren't even created to succeed in the first place. They were created so that when the price goes way up, the original people who invested in it, they could take it out, take the money, and then go buy Bitcoin.
Wow. So that makes sense. So, okay, for us people, us ignorant people, simply because we don't know how Bitcoin and all of this cryptocurrency works, is it safe to say that if we're holding any altcoins right now, we need to go and trade that altcoin in for Bitcoin?
What I'll say is, the way that people use stocks to get more US dollars, I use altcoins to get more Bitcoin.
Gotcha. So in other words, go get the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is the currency. Gotcha. All the altcoins are just ways to accumulate more Bitcoin.
Wow.
Whether you create an altcoin, whether you create an NFT, the goal is to is to take that value and then keep it in Bitcoin.
So you mentioned something that also has been a wave here lately. NFTs, is that another form of cryptocurrency? Is it related to Bitcoin? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so NFT, all that is a digital signature.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like all these people are like, oh, it's a picture, it's art. None of that's true. All it is an online digital signature. The base behind it, the technology behind NFTs as well as cryptocurrency is called blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
So the technology is the same for NFTs as well as it is for cryptocurrency.
Right.
But an NFT is just a digital online signature. And so say if I wanted to have this Zoom call on the blockchain, I can say, okay, I'm gonna create an NFT to say on this date at this time, we had this interview. And then years later, if somebody tries to say, oh no, I own the Talk Wealthy to Me podcast, you could be like, no, we can go back into the blockchain and see that we did this first, because the blockchain is essentially a database that can't be deleted. So it's always going to be there. And so
sort of
that's
like a trademark type thing.
Correct. And NFTs are going to take over a lot of trademarking business. It's going to take over a lot of accounting businesses. Blockchain is about to be the biggest change in terms of technology since the internet came out. A lot of people are calling blockchain the next version of the internet because now it can't be deleted.
Wow, that's crazy. So tell me a little bit about how Bitcoin, I know you talked a little bit about the blockchain. Can anybody create an NFT or a altcoin? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So cryptocurrency is open source, meaning all you got to do is hit Control-C and Control-V, and you've got the exact same code as another cryptocurrency. So it's very easy to create it. You can then change tokenomics, change some small things with it, create your own. The problem is how you're going to convince people that it has value. And so that's why you see all the advertising, you see all this marketing going on, because they're like, okay, cool. Bitcoin's got the best code, copy and paste that code, create my own, change the tokenomics a little bit, put my money in there, and then tell the whole world that it's an upgrade to Bitcoin. And
then
in all reality, try to get people to buy it so that then when that price goes up, you sell it and then they go buy more Bitcoin. That's the game. So you hear about Bitcoin Cash, you hear about Litecoin, you hear about, all these other coins. And in reality, the owners are just siphoning that money and then buying more Bitcoin.
So how much is one Bitcoin? Like, do people own several Bitcoins or do they own shares of one Bitcoin?
Yeah, so one Bitcoin right now is about $45,000.
Jesus.
No, that's actually really small.
Really?
Yeah, when you look at the market cap of Bitcoin, it's less than $1 trillion.
Wow.
When you look at Apple alone, a company is about 3 trillion. So considering that Bitcoin will become it's already the world reserve asset, it just hasn't been announced yet. When that really reaches scale, we're talking bond market is going to be, wiped out. We're talking the gold market is going to be wiped out. We're talking about all the world's paper money is going to be wiped out. So one day Bitcoin will probably be around $3 or $4 million a coin. But you don't have to buy a whole one in order to get in. You could buy pieces of the Bitcoin. Just like there's 100 pennies to $1, there's 100 million Satoshis to one Bitcoin. And so you can get 1 million Satoshis for like $450. And as time goes on, you just accumulate more and more. I look at Bitcoin as my savings account. So to me, one Bitcoin, $45,000 isn't really that big of a deal. As a savings account, I don't look at it as a stock. Because if you ask me to buy, Berkshire Hathaway stock, I'm like, oh no, that's way too much. Because you're depending on a company. With Bitcoin, you're not depending on any central government. You're not depending on any central business. It's decentralized, meaning everybody can participate in keeping the network going. There's no individual or government to not have trust in you. Trust in the technology.
Gotcha. So with that being said, going on the accounting side of that, there's no regulatory agency that's watching this Bitcoin. So how can people trust that, you know, their money isn't going to be stolen or whatever the case may be for those that are hesitant about cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so that's a very great question, and there's levels to it. So somebody like myself, I don't like the banks at all. I despise the banks. I hate what they did in 08, 09. I hate that they charged me $35 for being broke. I hate that they pay me less than 1% interest. And I just don't like the banks whatsoever. Like, I hate the fact that you have to have a bank in order to basically operate. And so I believe in self-sovereignty, where if you send me some money, I can look into the technology and see and verify everything. One thing in this business they say is don't trust, verify. So you really want to do your own research. I've been in this space for 4 to 5 years. I learn something new every single day because this is a whole new financial system. And so if you're one of the people who's like, hey, I don't really want to do all that research, then yes, you can have somebody like you can get like a grayscale ETF or things of that nature where you have exposure to the monetary value increase, but you don't have exposure to the utility of Bitcoin. I like the utility just as much as I like the monetary increase. But if you're like, hey, I don't want to learn all that. That takes too much time, too much risk. You could buy you an ETF, but I still recommend buying Bitcoin, Cash App, the Black Wall Street wallet, putting onto your cold wallet. And one phrase that Isaiah Jackson came up with was no keys, no cheese. Meaning, if you don't own your private keys, you don't actually own your cryptocurrency. Right. And so don't take screenshots of it. Don't put it on the internet. Don't tell anybody about it, because if somebody else has your private key, they could essentially steal your Bitcoin right in front of your face, and you can't do anything about it
because it's not regulated by any agency. So there's nothing you can do. Wow. So it's risky, but at the same time, it's basically similar to the stock market. Like, how much are you willing to risk for the wealth?
Well, I feel like, with more freedom comes more responsibility.
Right.
So, I mean, the animals that are in the wild, they can be eaten up.
Right.
But then you can easily say, oh, well, I don't want to be eaten up. So, okay, I'll go into the zoo and, get fed. But then you don't have freedom to move around. You don't have freedom to do anything.
You're controlled.
So you're controlled. So what's
which would you rather? It's like the lesser of two evils. Which would you rather do?
Give me freedom.
Right. Give me freedom. Y'all, I want y'all to stay tuned because we have more Blood and Crypto coming up next with CJ the Smart Guy right after this commercial.
My name is Ursula Lentini, and I have gifts to offer you. I do extensive healing work. I've worked on thousands of people and want to help you. I have tools, techniques, experience, and there's healing available to you. Sometimes we feel lost and confused. We don't know how we got to where we are, and we just want out. We just want to find a better way to become our best self. So I can help you become your best self with the healing work that I do. Pranic healing, internal family systems, which is subconscious work, and just bringing my presence to your presence to remind you who you truly are.
Welcome back. We are sitting here with CJ the Smart Guy, also known as Charles Kelly Jr. by his mama, talking about everything cryptocurrency. And I don't know about y'all, but I have been learning a lot because this is not my area of expertise. But I think I might be getting into this after this show. So we're going to jump right back into it, CJ. So you were giving us a lot of information about, how to get involved in the cryptocurrency market, things to look for, the risks that are associated with it. Tell me a little bit about this tour that you did with Black Wall Street and Hill Harper. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So Naja Roberts, she's a cryptocurrency exchange owner based in California. It's called the Crypto Blockchain Plug. Her and Hill Harper, they linked together and co-founded something called the Black Wall Street Wallet. And that wallet essentially allows you to buy, sell, and move your Bitcoin to your cold wallet. And so they came together, and Naja was saying, hey, look, we need to teach our communities about this. Like, we're all over the internet, but a lot of the communities aren't on the internet. So we need to go grassroots and go out to the people. And so I heard about that on Clubhouse. You can check out the Black Bitcoin Billionaires on Clubhouse. That's where I'm at. And so I heard about it on Clubhouse, and I was like, Naja, I'm going to go with you. And she's like, okay, cool. And so we went on tour. She went to like 33, 34 cities. I went to 22. I couldn't make them all. And so in every city was educating people about the evolution of money, which we believe to be Bitcoin. And it was a fantastic experience. And then after the tour, I came back, home, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna create a podcast episode for every single city I went to. So you can actually check out my podcast on YouTube. You can find CJ the Smart Guy. It's called Finance Road Trip Podcast Part 2. This is my second tour. My first tour I did solo, but the quality wasn't really that good because I didn't know what I was doing.
Learning experience.
Learning experience. This one's a lot better. And so I went to like Atlanta, Houston, Detroit, Chicago. And so, 22, 23 episodes I talk about, plus I got some bonus ones. And I also give interviews about, the people who attended. So I want to make sure that I gave a platform for the people who came through so that they can talk about their businesses, their experiences. And so that tour was mind blowing. We met with a whole bunch of politicians, and some of those politicians now are doing really big things. So shout out to Mayor Suarez in Miami. He just donated $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to Isaiah Jackson's mentoring program, like 55 Black kids out there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the tour. It's happening again this year, right?
Yeah, so that happened last year. So it was very grassroots. It was put together within 3 weeks. Shout out to Quasi. Quasi was the tour manager. This one, we've got backing this time.
Right.
People are seeing what's going on. They're wanting to contribute. So this one, the crowd should be way bigger. I said the last time the average crowd was about 40 to 45 people. This time I'm expecting a couple hundred to come out to every event. So yeah, this one you can go to thedfrtour.com, and you can then look at the top left corner, click it, go to cities, because we're probably gonna be coming to a city near you. I believe it starts May 28th, 2022. I believe it goes all the way through like July. So it's like a 2-month tour basically. And I'm excited because this is fun.
I mean,
this
it sounds informational, with everybody getting into the cryptocurrency now, there's a lot of groups on Facebook, and how Facebook attorneys at law, everybody's an expert at everything. So I feel like it's very important for people like you that are experts in the industry with credentials to back it, to get out and inform our people about cryptocurrency, because we always fear what we don't know more about. And I feel like the more we know, the more wealth we can gain, actually. So thank you so much for giving us the information about the tour. If you guys are watching, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're listening to this in your car, make sure you go to the DTR.
The
DFR.com. Tour.com. Got it. That's the DFRtour.com, and register for the tour coming near you. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure CJ the Smart Guy, he's gonna be on tour, so you'll get to meet him in person, hopefully, if you attend. Now, how much is it to attend the tour? How much should people be expecting to save to put tour admission? It's free.
It's free. We're not trying to charge people. We're trying to inform the people.
Absolutely.
And so, one thing about Naja and Hill and myself, like, we're not really doing this to get paid. We're doing this for the community, because we realize that Bitcoin as an invention for Black people is probably the most powerful invention since the cotton gin. Meaning, this is the biggest wealth transfer going on since we were the wealth transferred. We were the wealth transferred.
Right.
So now we can participate in something like this. There's no real barriers to entry, meaning we can all get on Bitcoin, on Cash App or, Black Wall Street, even if you don't have any money, you don't have a phone, you can go to an ATM and at least, keep that, code, that private key. So there's so many different ways to do this that we've actually been giving out pieces of Bitcoin at these meetings. Last time, anybody who downloaded the app, like, they got free Bitcoin, in their wallet. So it's not about saving up to try to come. It's about coming, learning, and networking with people, because we want to make sure that our community is not, behind. If you look in the news, Russia just made Bitcoin, trading legal, in response to Joe Biden basically saying, hey, we're going to stop them financially from doing certain things. Russia said, okay, cool, you can stop. We don't need to use your US dollar. We use Bitcoin. What are we going to do? Well, I mean, are we going to go to war with, as the US, are we going to go to war with everybody in the whole world? No.
Right.
So everybody's going to eventually capitulate to cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin in particular.
So tell me a little bit about, like, how do you use, what's the future of Bitcoin? Like, for those that still aren't, well versed in it, how will you be able to use Bitcoin? Like, will you be able to purchase things with it? Like, how does that work?
So I'm not sure exactly what the future holds yet. We got a lot of regulations. They're starting to put that into play. There's a book called Bitcoin and the American Dream. That was, I just met with Senator Lummis yesterday from Wyoming. And so basically we're trying to educate the politicians on Bitcoin and how it actually works.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of being able to use it at a grocery store, I think we're a while away from that being normalized.
Mm-hmm.
However, being able to transact with people around the world, that's already here. Because why would I go through Western Union to send a remittance payment? It takes 3 or 4 or 5, 6 days to go through, and then the fees are way high. When I could just send them some Bitcoin, take less than 10 minutes, and the fee is less than $1 through the Lightning Network. So digitally, Bitcoin is already the best place to use it. In person, it may never become mainstream because it's internet money. It's not a money for in-person transactions. That doesn't mean you can't use it, but I don't think that that's the vision of it in terms of like going to the grocery store, swiping a card, going here, swipe. You can. I think Apple Pay, they're starting to allow you to use crypto transactions like that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, their new tap feature for Apple Pay, they're integrating it now. But I personally don't spend my Bitcoin. It creates taxable events every time you spend cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So I just buy, hold, and never sell. And if I need US dollars, I borrow against it, use the paper money, and then eventually pay off the loan. And that's how I live. No taxable events for buying, holding, or borrowing against it.
And that's exactly what I was gonna get to next. It's tax season right now, and that's the one thing everybody's concerned about. Well, how does crypto or virtual currency affect my taxes? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in 2019, a cryptocurrency question first came on to the 1040, but it was on Schedule 1. So most people never saw it. They didn't care about it. In 2020, it went to the very first page of your 1040. And basically it says, have you ever done any transactions using virtual currency, virtual meaning cryptocurrency? And so if you check that box, no, but you have, used Coinbase or something like that, and they see that your social security number pops up, understand that Coinbase is working directly with the IRS and the feds and ICE. So they're going to send your information immediately. And so if you check that box no, and it pops up that you have been doing cryptocurrency trading, that's an audit in the making. And because it's considered fraud, because you lied, they have an infinite amount of time to come after you for audit.
Yep.
So,
and that's what people don't realize. They think, oh, since I got away, they didn't do anything with my taxes this year. Fraud, there is no statute of limitations for fraud, you guys. It could have been 30, 40, 50 years ago, and they can come back and get you for fraud that you committed 30 something years ago.
Yeah.
So that's very important. But what about like the transaction, like buying it, and what if they click yes? Yes, I did.
Yep.
engage in virtual currency this year? What now?
Yeah, so that's what anybody 2020, 21, I just tell them check that box. Yes, take fraud off the table. Even if you just buy, hold, or borrow against, none of those are taxable events. You don't have to report those. However, if you sell, if you exchange for another cryptocurrency, that's a big one. And then if you spend cryptocurrency, all of those are capital gain taxable events. Not to mention if you earn cryptocurrency, like Odell Beckham, he's getting paid in Bitcoin. If you receive it as wages, then you have to pay taxes as income at the fair market value of the US dollar. The US, they don't care about how much actual Bitcoin, if it was 2 Bitcoins or 2.1, they don't care. They only care about the fair market value of Bitcoin or that crypto at that exact moment. And that's called the fair market value. So I just tell people to buy, hold, never sell. And if you need US dollars, borrow against it. Because I charge $10 per transaction that's taxable. And if you're spending it at Starbucks, I mean, you're just spending money unnecessarily.
Right. So how do you borrow against your Bitcoin? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so there's a couple platforms. Unchained Capital allows you to borrow against your cryptocurrency while maintaining your private key. I think that's the best one in terms of being able to still keep, your coins. But then you also got platforms like Nexo or BlockFi or Celsius, where they have your private key. So I don't really recommend those. And there's also apps like Nexo, BlockFi, or Celsius, but they keep your private key. So I don't really recommend those. But they have more favorable rates. You can have, a larger amount of borrowing capacity, meaning you might be able to get 50%, for your collateral that you're giving them. But people do this all the time. They over leverage. So they buy Bitcoin at 60 and they see it goes to, they borrow against it and it goes down to 55. They're like, oh, I'm use my borrowed money to buy some more. And it goes down to 40. And then all of a sudden when it hits that 30, all of a sudden they're getting those emails saying, hey, if you don't give us more money, we're going to take your collateral. And so what we call that in the industry is RECT, REKT. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want to be over leveraged and lose your
basically
crypto.
Like defaulting on a loan in US terms.
But the difference is because of the volatility. I look at Bitcoin, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, so it's not really volatile. But in terms of US dollars, it can be considered volatile. So if the price went from 65 down to 30, you have to put more collateral up. With a house, typically that doesn't happen because, they just want their payments on time. In the crypto world, they don't really they care about their payments, but that's not their big thing. In their mind, if the price goes down and you can't pay, we just came up and got a whole bunch of Bitcoin. So their incentive is different than to just get payments. Their incentive is, I hope that people get wrecked so that I can collect their collateral.
Gotcha. Makes perfect sense. So to reiterate, because we are in tax season, for those people that are interested in cryptocurrency, as long as you are buying and holding and borrowing against the cryptocurrency, those are not taxable events.
Correct.
But if you exchange it for another type of Bitcoin, it's basically like exchanging stock. You have to report that on your taxes.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it here first from another CPA. He's telling you how to avoid being, deemed as fraudulent activity by not reporting your virtual currency activity on your tax return. So, CJ, before we wrap it up, if you could give advice to anybody who is interested in getting more involved in the cryptocurrency world, what advice would you give?
Do your own research as much as you possibly can. Don't trust any one source. Make sure you have multiple sources. The Black Bitcoin Billionaires on Clubhouse is a great resource. We have classes pretty much every day where we talk about the basics. You can interact with us. You can ask questions. But in the day, no matter who you listen to, do your own research because if it's a whole new financial system, and if you aren't familiar with it, I mean, there's lots of ways to get in trouble. I know there have been multiple people who have created fake pages of myself. So I'll be in Clubhouse talking to people and they're all excited, they're happy. And next, they might get a DM from somebody, either on Clubhouse or Twitter or on Instagram. And the profile looks just like mine. Literally, I wouldn't even be able to tell the difference, except it might have an extra J, or, there might be a number 1 or a dash or something that's not in my profile. And they're saying, hey, send me some Bitcoin and I can help you out. And it's not me. I'm not getting any benefit from it. And so, you're playing a big game. Google doesn't like the fact that their business can be taken over by some of these crypto upstarts. Facebook doesn't like these things. So they will intentionally keep the scammers up so that people are persuaded to not be in this new financial system. Meanwhile, they're trying to learn it as much as they can so that they can get it. And then they hurt people. They allow people to get hurt regularly for their business. And so you're talking about a very dirty game, because it's the biggest wealth transfer that we've ever witnessed. This is our ancestors' wildest dreams right now. And we can be a part of it. So of course, there's going to be a fight on the other end. So do your own research. Don't trust, verify, and follow me on all platforms at CJ the Smart Guy. No dashes, no underlines, no extra numbers, no extra letters.
All right, y'all. Y'all know how we do it. Make sure you go follow CJ on all platforms. That's CJ the Smart Guy. And make sure you sign up for the tour that's coming up. That is DFR Tour.
The DFR Tour.
I'm going to get it right before it's over. The DFR Tour.com. The tour is free. Go learn about Bitcoin. Go download the Black Wall Street app. I actually downloaded it last year when I did the Black Wall Street Business Expo here in Atlanta. So I've had the app for over a year, or almost a year now. So make sure you guys go check out the website. Crash the website. Y'all know how we do. Go and sign up for the tour at the location near you. CJ, thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate you. Of course, if anything else develops with this, feel free to come back and talk wealthy to me, and share it with the community. We need more unicorns like you and I giving out the information. It's all about access to the resources in order to be able to build generational wealth. So shout out to you for being our ancestors' wildest dreams and helping our people, build generational wealth. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
No problem. All right, y'all. This has been another episode of Talk Wealthy to Me. I am your host, your family CPA, and I am wishing you love, peace, and generational wealth. Somebody say, hey, we want some money. Thank you for listening to this episode of Talk Wealthy to Me. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share.